Hi, and welcome to Sports Update, where we give you the latest happenings in all sports. You'll find out what's going down in Evangel sports, NCAA football, and the NFL. I'm Brock Wilson.
And I'm Sophie Shore, and this is Sports Update.
Well, it's been an exciting week for Evangel sports, and we had a big milestone victory on Saturday.
400 career wins for Coach Whitehead.
That was supposed to be a surprise. Going somewhat under the radar, volleyball coach Mary Whitehead neared her 400th victory as head coach of the EU volleyball team with win number 399 against William Penn on Friday. The ladies match up against Culver Stockton on Saturday with an opportunity to get Coach Whitehead her 400th victory, and boy, was it a thriller. The Crusaders jumped out to a 2-0 lead, but watched that lead quickly dissolve as Culver Stockton took the following 2 sets to even the match at 2 sets apiece. Evangel came out firing in the 5th set, eventually getting the win 3-2. Coach Whitehead sealed her 400th victory, adding to her already all-time program-leading win total. And in her 17th season, she became the 3rd active coach in the Heart of America Conference with 400 career wins. The Crusaders continue on the road and look for Coach Whitehead's 401st victory when they head to Peru, Nebraska to take on Peru State on Thursday at noon.
Evangel football traveled to Graceland this past Saturday. It was a slow first half, but in the second half, Evangel would score 17 unanswered points. Breaking it down, midway through the third, Blake Woodard would find Dallas Hester for a 23-yard touchdown. Hester would lead Evangel in receiving yards with 3 catches for 45 yards offense. A Derek Roberts field goal and a fourth quarter 23-yard run from Cade Wilkie would seal the deal. Freshman Jeffrey Griffin had a pretty good game as well, leading the Crusaders rushing with 57 yards on just 2 carries. On the defensive end, Josh Evans added to his season sack total. Evans would also add a tackle for a loss and a pass breakup. Devin Overall returned to lead Evangel with 10 tackles, while Talacey Wilder added 2 sacks in the win. Crusaders win 24-7, ruining Graceland's homecoming. Up next, Evangel has a bye week and will pick up South Division action on October 15th against Mid-America Nazarene.
Evangel has a bye week and will pick up South Division action on October 15th against Mid-America Nazarene. Dipping below 500 for the first time this season, both men's and women's soccer teams traveled to Lamoni, Iowa to take on Graceland last Saturday, looking to get back to 5-5. Graceland took an early 1-point lead in the 14th minute of the men's game and never surrendered it, going on to win the matchup 1-0, shutting out the men for the 3rd time this season. The ladies saw a mirage of shots from Graceland as they got off 29, including 9 on frame, putting 4 in the back of the net, losing 4-0. The ladies dropped to 4-6 along with the men. They travel to Kansas City on Tuesday to take on Avila. The women's game starts at 1 and the men's at 3 o'clock. Well, after the quick start to the men's and women's soccer seasons, it's been a little rough going. But hey, the football team is now out to a 2-5 start.
Absolutely.
Not too many games left in the season, but still an opportunity to finish at 500 if they can get things going.
And more importantly, they have the opportunity to make the playoffs. But since conference play will just start after this bye week, so that's pretty exciting.
Well, the men's soccer team has made great improvements to their game this year. Brian Ebrecht has the story.
While the season last year was one of rebuilding, the Evangel women's soccer team has made noise in the Midwest this season. Coach Bruce Deaton says that it feels like the team has skipped a year because of their exponential growth.
We've made rapid change, rapid growth, rapid progress this year. We're 9 matches in, we're halfway through the season. Currently we're 4-5 overall. So and that was after a launch year last year that we were winless throughout the year.
Lots of things go into the making of a successful team, especially in a competitive conference like the HAC. But Coach Deaton says it comes down to the players themselves.
They've done the work. We've worked very hard, and you know, we have stayed focused on what our true goal was, and that's just to continue to grow in the game and to elevate the level of play.
Natalie Henry, sophomore forward for the team, says that the team has come together because of their love for the game.
It's something we have a passion for, so when we play with all of our hearts, and same at practice, so it's just an awesome experience.
The team is currently 4-6 and looks to continue their improvements into the postseason.
If you want to support your Lady Crusaders during their home soccer games, come on out here to beautiful Coryell Field and see all the action. Reporting for Sports Update, I'm Brian Ebrecht.
Well, as Coach said, it certainly was a launch year last year, of course, going winless. And if you look at the way the year started, the way the year went last year, this year is a massive, massive improvement.
Dramatic turnaround.
Even if they were to lose every other game this season, that's still a massive improvement from last year's.
Massive improvement.
Well, after the break, we'll be revealing the Player of the Week.
We'll also be going over some of Evangel's upcoming games, so stay tuned.
Did you know there's a place online that is home to Evangel University student media? Well, on CrusaderMedia.com, you can listen to KECC Radio Live, watch the most recent News Watch Today and Sports Update shows, as well as watch the past student-directed EU films, read the Lance student newspaper online, learn more about the Excalibur yearbook, read profiles on featured students, faculty, and staff, and even stay up to date with campus life by watching the hilarious EU Cribs dorm life videos and much more. Head over to CrusaderMedia.com today and stay up to date with life at Evangel University.
It's been a mediocre season at best for the men's golf team here at Evangel, but we did have one player get a personal victory last week. Victoria, tell us about our Player of the Week.
Congratulations to Dylan Beckemeyer from the men's golf team. Beckemeyer placed first at the Evangel Fall Classic Invitational, finishing with a 2-1-7. Dylan finished in the top at the Labor Day Invitational and placed in the top 20 at their last event at the CMU Eagle Open. It seemed like he just keeps on improving. He is a junior from Republic, Missouri, and will be majoring in accounting. We wish them the best for the golf team as they move on to the rest of their season.
I think that's the first personal victory from the past 2 seasons on the golf team, because we reported on them last year. Don't think they had any W's. So Dylan Beckemeyer has the first victory in a couple seasons for the golf team, which is very, very impressive.
So Beckemeyer, he's very deserving of
Yes.
this Athlete of the Week.
Victoria, also tell us about our Games of the Week.
All right, first we have the volleyball team with a matchup against Peru State on Thursday at noon. Peru State is third in the conference with a 6-1 conference record, where their last loss just happened this Friday. Then we have some women's soccer conference action with a game on Friday at Culver Stockton at 6, and a home game next Tuesday at 1 versus Baker, who's ranked 18th nationally in the NAIA, so make sure to support the girls. Our men's team is also competing in conference play. On Friday, they play at Culver Stockton at 8:15 and kick off next Tuesday versus Baker at 3:30. Baker is ranked nationally 10th in the NAIA and 4th in conference. Wow, the Baker soccer program for both men and women seem to be having a good year. And if you aren't going to be gone for fall break, I'm sure that both the men's and women's soccer team will be appreciative of a nice, supportive crowd on Tuesday. Lastly, the cross-country team will be heading up to Kansas City for the Kansas-Missouri Border Challenge on Saturday. It's always fun to see those state border showdowns and all the athletes competing in it.
You know, we don't always get a lot of border challenges here in Springfield. The biggest rivalry that we have is that 65 series between us and College of the Ozarks.
Oh, yep.
But interesting to see the Missouri kind of cross-country teams running against the Kansas cross-country teams. Would be a nice little showdown up there in Kansas City.
Absolutely. After the break, we'll be talking with freshman volleyball's right side hitter and blocker, Emma Lander.
So stay tuned to Sports Update.
You can't keep true faith inside a church. You can't confine it to a few hours, days, or weeks. You can't share it with some people and hide it from others. You can't leave it on the side of the road to come back for it when you think you will need it later. True faith will shine through in everything you do, wherever you are, and everything you do will improve because of it, because everything we do grows out of it. Evangel University.
Welcome back to Sports Update. We are here with freshman right side hitter and blocker for the volleyball team, Miss Emma Lander. Emma, it's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me.
So how's your adjustment been to college starting off? Tell us about it.
Well, it's definitely an adjustment. There's a lot going on, like just time-wise, you have to manage everything like a lot better. But it's been so much fun. It's been an adventure for sure.
So I hear you're from Crane, Missouri. So how big is Crane, Missouri? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, we only have one school of about 700 people total. That's like high school, elementary, everything. So it's super tiny. And that's kind of why I liked Evangel, because it was a relatively small campus.
So tell me about how the volleyball team is doing. You guys won 2 games this past weekend, and who did you play? How did those games go?
We played Culver Stockton Saturday, and we had to make some adjustments because we had a person get hit, our leading blocker and hitter. She got hurt, so that was interesting, but I was really proud of our team for adjusting well and not letting it affect us too much, so it was good.
So looking forward, what are your guys' goals for the rest of the season?
Nationals is on our mind. We really want to get back there. The seniors were there last year, and they want to get back, and then us freshmen, we've never been, but we have heard so much about it, and we want to go. So I think that's probably our primary goal.
So playing right side, have you always played right side hitter?
No, this is actually my first time ever to play right side.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So that was just something new when you came to college that you started?
Right. I played middle my whole life, but we had 2 really great middles already, and so Coach moved me out there, and it's been an adjustment, but it's fun, yeah.
So Morgan Kingsinger, she was one of your middles. She broke her hand this past weekend. Talk about just the seniors on the team, how you guys are going to deal with that, who's going to step up.
So we've already switched the rotation around a little bit. Jackie Fugit, who was an outside hitter, is now playing middle. So just little things like that. Everybody has to step up. You know, it's not just the seniors. Like everybody has to do better in their position to fill the big hole that was left when Morgan got hurt. So.
And in Lights, that's happened the same weekend that Coach Whitehead had her 400th win of the season. So what was that like, the emotions, the excited emotions, and then the sadness with one of your teammates breaking their hand?
Honestly, I think it was the Culver Stockton game when she got her 400th win, and we were just kind of relieved that we actually pulled it out because it'd been kind of a rough game, and so we weren't like super excited, you know, and for Coach then, but afterwards we were like, hey, like, it's your 400th win, wow, congrats, because that's a huge milestone. But it was definitely hard dealing with both of those things in the same weekend, for sure.
So with 5 seniors, are they all very close, the team?
Mm-hmm.
What is your senior leadership like? What is it like having people who have gone to nationals in the past year and know what to expect? What dynamic does that bring to the floor?
It's been awesome because our whole team is very competitive now, and we have a high standard to live up to, and so, you know, they know what it's like, they know what it takes, and they are trying to get us freshmen to, you know, do the same thing so we can go back.
And this month of October brings a lot of home games for Evangel University Volleyball, correct?
Right.
So we need to make sure that you guys get a lot of support.
Definitely, we would love the support. We have been missing having home games. We've only had one so far, so please come out, yeah.
Well, we will have to come and support our Lady Crusader volleyball team. So Emma, thank you so much for coming and letting us talk to you about volleyball. Up next, we will be covering the top NCAA games, including North Carolina versus Florida State. Stay tuned.
How do we learn? We learn from study, practice, and concentration. We learn from falling down and from getting back up. We learn from those who have gone before us. We learn from each other. And we learn from looking inside ourselves. And as we learn to learn, we grasp more than just knowledge. We learn the wisdom to apply it. Because learning is more than discovering how to do what we do. It's also discovering why we do it. Evangel University.
Well, we had our first top 5 matchup of the season this past Saturday when Louisville headed to Clemson on a big matchup in Death Valley. Well, it was certainly the biggest college football game of the year. Lamar Jackson, Deshaun Watson, they duked it out in Death Valley to see who is truly the top team in the ACC. Now, Louisville found themselves down by some scores here late in the second half, but we see Lamar Jackson hits a touchdown to James Quick, and they were going to have a comeback in them as Chucky Williams has a fumble recovery there. He's going to return it back to the 20. Louisville is down by 9, and they would come all the way back. The best player in college football, Lamar Jackson, takes that 2-yard run into the end zone. Louisville is down by just 1 point. Lamar Jackson to the outside, option right, takes it up the sideline. That is another touchdown. Louisville is going to take the lead as Clemson cannot understand why they lost that big lead. Deshaun Watson is, however, he believes the best college football player in the nation. He hits that touchdown pass to Mike Williams. Clemson down by just 2. Deshaun Watson, ball again, rolls out right. Deep pass to Jordan Leggett. He's going to take that up the sideline for the score. Clemson up by a score. Louisville would have one last shot, 4th and 7 late in the fourth quarter. That's a quick shot to Quick. You know, if your last name's Quick, you got to be quick. He wasn't quick enough there on that play. Louisville comes up just short. Lamar Jackson is disgusted. They get their first loss of the season, 42-36.
Moving on to the Michigan-Wisconsin game, it was a hard-fought battle. Starting it off, Khalid Hill punches it in for the 1-yard touchdown. Kenny Allen's extra point would be good, but that would be about all that was good for Kenny Allen. Michigan's kicking game would struggle, missing 2 field goals at 31 and 43 yards. Moving on with 8:03 left to play, Wisconsin coming back. Alex Hornibrock pass complete to Dare for 17 yards and the touchdown. Midway through the fourth, Wilton Spite passes complete to Darboh for a 46-yard touchdown. Wisconsin will have one more shot to get it done, but Michigan's Lewis would say no. Final score would end up being Michigan 14, Wisconsin 7.
You know, Michigan is certainly one of the most exciting teams in college football this year. Now that Jim Harbaugh has that program up and running with all of his antics going on, plus their pace of play, it's just been extremely exciting.
Absolutely. Moving back to Lamar Jackson, he is easily one of the most dominant players in college football right now.
He showed in that matchup, even with the loss, that he is still the most dominating player in the country.
Yeah, he did. He showed it for sure.
Well, let's move to some SEC action. The SEC was down to 3 remaining undefeated teams going into action on Saturday, and they came awful close to losing one of them in a thriller between Tennessee and Georgia. The game was a close one with Georgia up 17-14 here. 4 minutes left in the third quarter. Jacob Eason's going to strike to Isaac Nuda, and he is going to put that in the end zone. Georgia up by 10 points. And this looked to be the end of the game as, well, first Tennessee evened up the score, actually took the lead 28-24. Georgia tried to put it away here late in the fourth. 15 seconds, time ticking off the clock. Eason is going to hit Riley Ridley in the end zone for a touchdown. 10 seconds left in the game, it's over, right? No, Tennessee with a penalty on the kickoff is going to have one more chance. 46 yards, Joshua Dobb heaves it into the end zone. Juwan Jennings comes down with it. That's a Hail Mary completion right there. Tennessee, pure ecstasy as they come off the sidelines. Coach cannot believe it. Tennessee gets the amazing victory, stays undefeated, 34-31. They've got A&M next week at 2:30.
If you missed the North Carolina-Florida State game, you really, really missed out. But you wouldn't have known that from the looks of things halfway through the second half. With 7 minutes left, North Carolina up 14-0, they would make that 21-0. Mitch Trubisky was able to evade the defense and run it in for a 4-yard touchdown. But wait, Jock Patrick with the run, pulling the Seminoles within 7. He would almost fumble. All of a sudden, we're all tied up. Dalvin Cook with a 3-yard run and his second touchdown of the day. Very dominant game for him. Pressure 54-yard field goal. Nick Weiler with ice in his veins. North Carolina would live to fight another day. 37-35. How about that kick,
That
Brock?
is a big field goal from a young man in big situations. That is NFL quality stuff right there.
Absolutely.
When you see a young man that can hit from 54 yards in a game-winning situation like that, like you said, ice in his veins.
All or nothing. I mean, they were down by 1 point. That was the determining factor of the game.
Well, after the break, we'll be recapping the top games in the NFL, including the Chiefs and the Steelers.
Stay tuned to Sports Update.
Catch all the HD broadcasts of Evangel Sports on EUTV through livestream.com. EUTV features weekly programs like Sports Update and Newswatch Today. You can also see award-winning student films from Evangel filmmakers. Evangel University Television broadcasts to Evangel dorms on channels 12 and 35-1. You can also find EUTV on Mediacom Channel 84 in Springfield. And now, EUTV is on livestream.com. Broadcasting on the web 24 hours a day. So check it out. Go to livestream.com, enter EUTV in the search box, and click on the EU icon. EUTV, the home of edutainment.
Well, let's start off with some Monday night action as US Bank Stadium in Minneapolis had its first Monday night matchup of its short life.
Tell us about it, Brock.
As the Vikings took on the Giants, and it's no surprise that the Vikings' stout defense continued their dominance as the Vikings opened up 3-0 on the season. Stoic Eli Manning, and, well, the errors piled up early for the Giants as Dwayne Harris muffs the first punt of the game, giving the Vikings the ball. They would drive all the way down in the red zone, getting their first score of the night as Matt Asiata plows into the end zone for the touchdown. Spikes the football. Adrian Peterson is certainly happy about that. So is Sam Bradford. He drops back in the pocket here, down in the red zone again, inside the 10, over the middle. Strikes to Kyle Rudolph. That's a touchdown. Vikings up 2 scores. The Giants would get their only touchdown of the game here on this run from Orleans Darkwa. It would be 10-14 Minnesota. They would tack on a field goal as Sam Bradford would have his longest play of the game as he hits Charles Johnson down the sideline inside the 10 again. And just for good measure, they're going to tack on one more touchdown as Jerick McKinnon takes this handoff and runs that into the end zone. Minnesota will get the victory 24-10.
The Kansas City Chiefs took a hit at Pittsburgh this weekend, starting off good old Ben to Darius Hayward-Bay for the touchdown. Deep pass caught in the corner. Alex Smith would have a rough game scrambling. Not sure where he was throwing that one. That is about how the day went for the Kansas City offense. Is that Troy Polamahu back from retirement, Brock?
Pittsburgh fans wish.
Nah, it's just Jay Jones. Roethlisberger would finish it off with a pass short middle to Antonio Brown. But this play would be the scandal of the game. Antonio Brown again with the touchdown, but a little too excessive with his celebration. He would get a penalty. Ben to Harris for the touchdown in the corner. This would continue. Kansas City would take a whooping 43-14.
It was a far cry from last week's game against the Jets, where the Chiefs had 8 turnovers. Really unable to get that offense churning this week.
It's super frustrating, hoping for the sake of my Kansas City heart that they can turn it around in time for postseason.
Let's head out west to another team who knows how to lose games late in the fourth quarter. It's no surprise that when the Chargers had a lead in the fourth quarter, the New Orleans Saints had them right where they wanted them. San Diego Chargers are up by 2 scores. Melvin Gordon fumbles the ball, though. 4th down as the Saints get the ball back. Drew Brees drops back. Michael Thomas for a 5-yard touchdown reception. He's going to make a lot of fantasy owners happy this season, having a great season. Phillip Rivers drops back over the middle to Benjamin Travis. He's also going to fumble the football. Nobody's happy on the Chargers sideline because they know what's coming. Handoff to John Kuhn. That's a touchdown. Saints are going to go up 35-34. Now Phillip Rivers is going to have one more shot as he drops back, airs this one out. That's intercepted by B.W. Webb. The Saints are going to get their first victory of the season, 35-34.
Cowboys came into their game against the 49ers without any action from star wide receiver Dez Bryant. Starting the game off, Blaine Gabbert with a pass deep left to number 17, Jeremy Curley, for a 33-yard touchdown. Dallas down 14-0 with 3 minutes left in the second. Dak Prescott launching for 20 yards out to Terrence Williams for the touchdown. Cowboys would then tie it up with just 16 seconds left in the half. 4-yard touchdown pass, Prescott to Bryce Butler. Dallas would be up 24-17, rounding out the fourth, 4th and 6. Cowboys defense would hold true. Dallas wins 24-17.
You know, that was an exciting football game, and it seemed like there were more Dallas fans at Levi Stadium than there were 49ers fans.
It really did appear that way.
The Cowboys have had a really interesting season so far as they open up without Tony Romo. Now they've lost Dez Bryant. Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott have really stepped up to the plate and carried the load for that Dallas team.
They have.
Well, make sure you always find a way to support your fellow Crusaders. This is all from us at Sports Update. I'm Brock Wilson.
And I'm Sophie Shore. And again, thank you all for watching Sports Update.